Hi, my name is Steve. I'm going to give you my personal interpretation of the parable of the weeds. I've not studied the Bible that much, and I've not any formal education, so I'm just telling you the way I read it as it's written on the page. Here's the words, that's what it says. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servants asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them out?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time I will tell the harvesters, 'First collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned, then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn.'" That's Matthew 13, number 24 through 29. So I wrestled with this parable. First, I was focusing on identifying, well, am I a wheat stalk or am I a weed? I was sort of struggling with that issue, and that sort of goes against my grain in general. I believe that was more the old good versus evil paradigm, and I believe that most people are sort of in a vast area of gray between those two. There may be some inherently evil people, and there may be just sort of shiningly good people, but I believe that majority of people are kind of struggling in between and trying to do what's right, but probably and possibly making a hash of it in the process. So I wasn't so comfortable with the whole distinction there. But then, as I read it a little bit more, I got to thinking about the role of what they said. Well, should we separate these out, the wheat from the weeds? And the master said no, don't do that, because you might not get it right. While you're pulling the weeds, you might uproot the wheat, and vice versa. So essentially, it seemed to be saying that, and the master actually said he was going to go in, he's going to send harvesters and give them the instructions later on. And a later explanation in the further down says that the harvesters were angels. So it made, actually it fit in well in a way with my worldview in that saying that yes, there might be good and evil, but we don't know what is right and what is wrong at this time, us weeds or us wheat. And it's really not up to us to make the distinction at this point. We have to try, and as hard as we can, to live our lives and be wheat if we're called to be wheat. But really the judgment of what really works and what didn't work is something that comes further down the line. And that's something that will be done at the end of the time when the harvest comes, which is not now. So with that interpretation, it sat well with me that, I guess another way to look at it is also that, perhaps we start out as weeds, but maybe there's opportunity for us to migrate over to being wheat. It's not so set right now what we are. Maybe if you sort of loosely interpret it, you're not inherently a weed or a wheat when you're born into this world, but you sort of make yourself into one or the other, and the camp you're in is determined at some later time by someone else. It's wiser than we are. So that's kind of where I come down on that. I don't know how that jives with biblical scholars and people who have studied this more than I. But for what it's worth, and that's my piece. Thank you.